we are going to begin with how to build your online portfolio. If I can get my little screen sized right here, we're going to get started with the first slide, which is talking about why write a portfolio at all and why have it online. Well, aspiring authors like yourself need to showcase your work, and online is where everything has moved in many, many ways. It's actually hugely beneficial for those of you who don't live in a really hot production market, for example, New York or Chicago, or some on the West Coast as well, across seas. So those of you who are living in quieter areas, this is a great way to start bringing your portfolio to people who you want to see your work. And even more importantly than that is you have an audience everywhere that there is an online audience. So this presence in the literary world isn't so much of what it used to be, which is that kind of more highfalutin, fancy world. We're talking about how do you get eyeballs on your work? How do you get people to pay attention to what you're writing? You can start to get paid online as well, and so you should think about the market that's going to pay you for your writing best. You can do paid writing gigs that are more commercial based, like Fiverr and Upwork, but there's other areas that you can start writing. Substack is one, Medium is another. We're going to be talking about different platforms where college writers like yourself can begin crafting their portfolios, or if you're listening today not as a college writer but as somebody who's just wanting to start to write, this is going to be a particularly helpful video. Let's talk about the pros and cons of each one so that you can make an informed choice. Medium is probably one of the most well-known platforms out there, and it is known for its simplicity. People love the simplicity of Medium. It has a community as well. When you join, you get to see what other writers are writing, and writers can continue to publish articles and stories across a really broad audience. The interface is particularly user-friendly, and you can earn through partner programs. So something that you should be taking a look at, even if you don't go into, is Medium. The benefits of Medium is that it is meant for a large and diverse audience. It's very user-friendly, like I said, and there's a potential for earnings. However, it is saturated with a lot. There's a lot of writers on there, which is good too, but you are not going to be a sole sage on stage at all. So know that it's competitive, and there is limited portfolio customization. So that can be a con, especially if you really want to have a unique portfolio look. The next thing that I would encourage you to consider is WordPress. Now, WordPress is super versatile in how you make your content. It's essentially creating a website, which is fantastic, and that gives you complete control over the design. You can have long form content on there without any problems. There are plugins and themes that you can choose from the beginning or even midway through, and it caters to a large set of needs, but there is a learning curve to that. So let's start with the cons on WordPress. Not everybody loves WordPress because of that. And it does require self-hosting, which is a little bit more expensive if you want the full customization plan. But the pros are pretty strong. You get great design control, you get plugin and theme optimization, and it is great if you're trying to develop a personal brand. You can have about pages to really showcase who you are writing for, what your passions are, and that can be very beneficial. Let's move on to LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a professional networking site, and it supports written content. It works for writers seeking exposure to industry professionals. Now, most people think of LinkedIn, that's not for the writer, that is for the CEO, that's for the student that's trying to get a job in corporate America. Yes, that's true, but it is actually super powerful for people like yourself. Most of us have exposure on LinkedIn to begin with, or I hope you do. It is a particularly useful marketing and networking tool, but you can also use it to market and network your writing. It doesn't have a lot of formatting options, which is true, but it can integrate with your professional profile and make you a pretty formidable marketable person with a unique set of skills. Now, there are the cons of the limited formatting options, and it does tend to have a professional focus. So sometimes your audience might be a little confused if they aren't used to a more creative view of how to use LinkedIn. But networking is huge in LinkedIn. And if you want to start getting recognized, you want to start networking, this is the place to be. It also integrates with your professional profile, so you're not just another face in the crowd. You are an author who has this stellar background in whatever it is, or this very tangential background. And you can start to play with that. It also is a great exposure to industry professionals that you're just not going to get on a site like a web design site that you've made yourself, or a site like Medium. So do not underestimate the power of LinkedIn. My college students are all asked to do LinkedIn, and they're asked to do that in my creative writing classes, and they're also asked to do that across the board. LinkedIn is just a really powerful tool that I don't think enough attention is paid to by young people, and that seems silly. Why wait until you're 30 or 40 years old to see how powerful these tools can be to set your future in the right direction for yourself? Maybe a lesser known tool that you could consider is Wattpad. Now, Wattpad is a community driven platform for writers and readers. Most people who are on it are serial fiction writers. It's a great place that you're going to read other writers. There's a ton of content out there because there's a lot of people writing, but the quality is not always super great. You're going to see a lot of people who maybe needed a little more time to develop their craft. The pros, great community engagement on Wattpad. You can serialize to your heart's content and really build out an audience with that serialization. And you can have visibility early on in your career because there's really no standards. So you don't have to be an excellent writer to get on. You just have to get on to become an excellent writer. But like I said, the content out on Wattpad is probably not the highest level, and there's very limited earning potential on Wattpad. Still, if you're a very young writer just starting out, start with Wattpad and see what you think. I'd love to hear what your experience is with it, because it is one that I've kind of avoided myself. Substack is one that I actually use a fair amount. It is a newsletter-based platform. It's ideal for building an audience with subscriptions. It's also ideal for starting to collect those emails with audience members who maybe aren't ready to pay yet, but they are ready to hear when you put out new product. Writers can potentially earn through those subscription models, although that is a tough task. Not everybody can get there, but it is a possibility. And it's a very clean space for your written content. So my big favorite elements to Substack is that newsletter-based audience. I can start to grow members who are interested in hearing about what I do and how I do it. The subscription-based earnings are very evident there. You can definitely make some money, but it does take a while. So don't expect to go in and start paying your utility bill, even much less your mortgage, with your Substack writing. And there's focused content platform is perfect for writers, but it doesn't always suit every genre. Newsletters doesn't really fit what everybody thinks about in terms of how they write. Longer form content are not going to fit super well there. And there's limited discovery features in Substack. So you're probably not going to become known and noted on Substack. But if you want to collect those emails, Substack's the right way to go. Wix and Weebly is another website builder, much like WordPress. These builders are suitable for creating professional looking portfolios. They are going to have a link that you can put on a business card, you can put on a resume, you can put into your LinkedIn. And there's drag and drop features, so it's super easy to customize it. but I will warn you, there are limitations. They really are trying to move more and more people onto a paid plan, of course, to monetize the product. Now, the pros, I love a Wix or a Weebly. A lot of my students are asked to create portfolios on a Wix or a Weebly, not all. It's easily customized, it's very polished looking, and it's perfect for portfolios in that way. But the con is there's limited functionalities without those paid plans, and there's no community features. You are really a voice in the wilderness. There is no one around you, so something to be aware of. Let's talk about DeviantArt or Behance. They are both visual platforms, so it's perfect for multimedia portfolios. If you're a writer that wants to incorporate visual elements into your work, this is a great opportunity to connect with visual artists and start to do that. So the pros for this is that incredible visual appeal, fantastic for multimedia portfolios, and the community that's there. It's largely visual artists, but nonetheless, there's a community there. Those of you who are text-centric writers, which I would argue most, especially beginning writers are, um, they might not fit in as well here. I do not go on DeviantArt or Behance because it just really doesn't fit my style or my purpose. There's a lot less emphasis on traditional writing there. But if you are loving the idea of getting into multimedia writing, I would head on over to DeviantArt or Behance and then let me know what your experience is. Let's talk about Blogger. So, as you would assume, it is meant for the blog-like writing, and it's very user-friendly. I believe Google currently owns it. It works great for bloggers and content creators, and it really integrates well with other Google services, but it doesn't have that same level of professionalism as the other platforms. It's not going to be as pretty and clean and glossy as even a WordPress or a Wix that you build out for the first time yourself. But it is very user-friendly, and it's integrating with Google services, which is hugely helpful. And if you are a blogger, Blogger's the great place for you to go. I mean, it's literally named for you. But keep in mind, limited customization, a little bit less professionalism. So if you're trying to become something other than a blogger, maybe look elsewhere. But definitely try it. Try it and see what you think. I wanted to throw in some of these that you could immediately begin making money for. Now, Upwork is going to be a freelance platform. It's connecting writers with clients. So let's say you find somebody who wants you to create a weekly help letter for their business. Upwork is going to be where they might go to look, and you can put your information out there and what you can offer out there for them. It offers a lot of opportunities for paid writing gigs. It allows writers to build that portfolio with the diverse projects. You can showcase elements of those projects that you do and you got paid for. So it's fantastic for freelancing and diversifying your project and earning. But it is a problem in that it is very competitive. Everybody's on there throughout the world. It is not just a national market, it's an international market. And there are service fees. So for every gig you get, you are going to have to pay to Upwork. Fiverr is very much the same. It's the same freelance marketplace idea. Writers can offer the services there. It allows writers to set their prices and showcase. But just like Upwork, very, very competitive. I would say every day there's more people getting on. Now, don't let that scare you too much, because just because people get on doesn't mean they actually go live and are able to offer services. But there is a lot of people on there. It's great because it's got flexible pricing and you can showcase your expertise, and those freelance opportunities are probably greater on Fiverr than Upwork. But there is very low entry-level prices because you are competing with people in the Philippines and places where the dollar carries a lot of weight. So you may not want to do the work for those prices. And there are service fees on Fiverr as well. In closing, choose the right platform and play around. But first, consider your goals. So what do you want to do? Do you want to monetize? Do you want to network? Or do you want to build a professional community? All these platforms have strengths in each of these areas, None of them really are strong in every area. So be on multiple platforms. And know your audience. Different platforms are going to attract different readers. So know where your target audience is most likely to be. Finally, evaluate the ease of use. So what is your level of technical proficiency and how much do you want to learn? Then choose a platform that aligns with that. That's really the best way to go about this. Thanks for joining with us today. I appreciated the time that you were able to give me, and I hope to see you again when we talk about the next topic in writing for wealth.